Hi, I'm Steve and welcome to the Honda Hornet Café Racer build. Still a bit of a mouthful. People can come up with a better name for the bike, and at the moment I'm calling it number 16. Don't know if you can guess why. Somebody said that maybe they'd come up with a better idea for a name once they know the paint colour. So on the rare 2 hours of not raining, I got the bike outside when it was grey primer, and I'll show you a picture here, and maybe we can come up with some paint colours. I'd like people's comments, suggestions. I'll put up some pictures of tanks that I like the paint scheme of. This is the original paint scheme for a CB500. It is a Honda, so red is always good. Maybe white, probably not. Black is always good, maybe with a bit of detailing. There's this one that is like a brushed metal effect paint job. Obviously I wouldn't be able to do that, it would have to be done professionally. You've got chrome paint. How much detail on the tank as regards infill panels or pinstriping, I don't know. If people can comment and do their suggestions or maybe put pictures up, that'd be great. As usual, most people are watching and not subscribing, so please smash that subscribe button down below or in the corner of the video. It doesn't cost nothing. So we're going to carry on with the painting, getting it all prep finished so it is ready for a paint colour. This is like the second part of the video. If you haven't seen the other one, I'll put a link up here. All this standing around doing filling and painting and waiting for things to dry, I have obviously tidied the garage. Well, I've rearranged it so that I've got more working space. It never seems to stop raining, so I'm going to have to do more and more in the garage, and now I've got a bit more working space, so that is the only good thing about the rain at the moment. So that's it, on with the video, and the preparation continues. One more thing. At the end of the video there'll be a little update on the rear light bracket, so wait around for that. So that's dried 24 hours later, and the next step is a guide coat. I've just got some cheap red primer that I bought in the sell-off section, and it's just a light dusting over the top, and this is to help with your sanding. So I've put that anywhere where I think there's going to be issues, and now I'll rub it down again with some wet and dry, very fine, and just see where the high spots are. The red primer is dry. It doesn't need to be red, it can be any coat. It doesn't even need to be primer, it can just be a contrast, as long as it's a contrast. I'm going to rub it over now with some wet and dry, but I'm going to just do a dry sand very lightly, using one of them foamy blocks just as my support, so it sort of conforms to the shape a little bit better. I'll rub it over, and that should highlight the high spots or low spots. So I've rubbed that down. I used 400 grit in the end like I did originally, because the wet and dry was just way too smooth, and I've wiped it over, but I was probably a bit heavy handed with the guide coat as well, but it sanded off anyway. And you can see like an area there. You can see where those are, and those are your low spots, little bits like that. Now I can't even feel that. I can feel that, and that one. So, and on the end there's a little bit. So it's next to nothing. You're looking at the thickness of the paint. That was that piece that I could feel before, and see where it is now, and a bit there. Some of that is the end of the fill. As it's rubbed over, it's come at the edge and it's just dipped. So what I'm going to do next is wipe it over with a tack cloth to get the dust and stuff off. I don't want to use alcohol anymore because it's painted. Also acetone can damage your paint, so it needs to be paint friendly stuff. So I'll clean that, and then I've got to fill these little bits with literally a scrape of fill, and you use spot filler, spot putty, knifing putty, whatever you call it. It's already mixed, and it's just literally meant to put the barest, thinnest coat on. And you can see how thin the dents are, you can't even feel them, but they're there. You put the tiniest thin spread on. So I'll do them, it takes about half an hour to dry. I'll rub it back, and then I've got to put a bit of primer over the top again, start again. But this is how you get it good. So I've sanded that down, reprimed with etch primer wherever you've gone through to the bare metal, and then over with the filler primer, let that dry. Now I've rubbed that back down again, and you can see that we're next to, there's a couple of little spots there, but it's hardly even brought through the spot putty, knifing putty. So that is pretty good now. Next to nothing. So I will etch primer the bare metal parts, and then I'll filler primer, and this time I'm going to use a white primer, just so that when I wet and dry it down, it'll act as a guide coat as well, because I think I've pretty much got it now. I was just going in the garage yesterday, and Rachel said, "What's wrong with that motorbike?" And I said, "Nothing, why?" She said, "What have you took it to bits for?" I said, "Because I'm going to make it better." She said, "You watched far too much Chitty Chitty Bang Bang when you were a kid." I don't know what she's on about. I've sprayed that over with the white primer, and it's now dried properly. I had to put it in the house again because it's so cold. We're back inside the garage because it's back to raining, so I'm going to wet sand this over very lightly with 800 grit, but I'm going to wet sand it, water with a bit of washing up liquid in, and I'll rub that over, and I think that is going to be it. I'm not going to paint a top coat because I just haven't decided what colour we're going to do it yet. Right, so as you can see, that is sanded off. That was 800 wet sand, and it's barely gone through the layer of white primer. There is no real highlights. I'll show you a bit of muck on there. No real highlights. Obviously the edge is always going to pick up a little bit there, little bits around there, but you can see even where the filler primer has actually worked and filled just little tiny marks, but that is as smooth as anything now. And it's barely, there's no real like dark patches apart from on the edge here, there where it's gone through the primer, so it shows that it's flat. One little spot there must have been something on that. One little spot there, one little spot there, but nothing, and I can't feel them at all now. There you can see where even just on that little edge there, the filler primer's just done its job. So that is as far as I'm going to go with that, because I don't know what colour top coat's going on. I don't know if I'm going to spray it. I may pay for someone to spray it. I know it's a budget build, but the tank is what you see. You walk up the bike, first thing you see is the tank. It's got to be right. Depends on if I go for a plainish spray job, I may go for it myself. We'll wait and see. So that is now putting some bubble wrap in a box out the way so it gets no damage. A little update on the rear light mount. I wouldn't call it version 3, but it's version 2.1. So that's how it was before. Looks pretty much the same, apart from I have cut that away to match. So when it's on the under tray, the angle is the same as the bottom of the under tray. I think it's just a little thing. Is it an improvement? Was it worth the effort? I think it was. Little thing, just tidies it up a little bit more. So leave me a comment, tell me what you think. Tell me if you think I could improve it even more. So that's it for this time. Next time I will be stripping the bike down. I've got as far as I can go. I've got a little idea about maybe changing the seat unit, but I'm still mulling that over. So next time I will be stripping the bike down, getting the frame down to a bare frame so that I can weld in the under tray and cut off any brackets and things like that. So that's it for now, and I will see you next Wednesday.